Welcome back, my friends, to AA Recovery Interviews. I'm your host, Howard L., and I'm an alcoholic. Sober since January 1st, 1988, one day at a time. I'm grateful you've joined us. AA Recovery Interviews is the podcast where Alcoholics Anonymous members from around the world share their timeless and extraordinary stories of experience, strength, and hope. There are more than 175 episodes in this podcast series. Scroll through my complete catalog of episodes, all of which you can enjoy on aarecoveryinterviews.com and all podcast apps. My guest on today's show is Kelvin S., a man whose life was defined and dominated by booze and drugs. You'll hear lots of similarities, though parts of his story contain many of the things most alcoholics refer to when they say, "There but for the grace of God go I," or "That could have been me." Drinking, smoking crack, gang membership, desperate crimes, jail, broken probation, prison, and parole violations all occurred within 5 years after his first drink. Raised in a home rife with family secrets, Kelvin's mother did her best to help keep the kids out of trouble. But desegregation during his middle school years had Kelvin bust across town to schools where he struggled to find a persona with which he could fit in. Back in his neighborhood, he was bullied for that and had to adopt a different persona to fit that environment. Confusion, lack of direction, lost identity, and low self-esteem inevitably became the drivers to drinking and smoking marijuana at 17. He soon joined a gang and started smoking crack cocaine. Purse snatching, shoplifting, and other crimes put him at odds with the legal system and put Kelvin in jail and later prison. He mostly ignored or dismissed alternatives to incarceration, such as rehab, though he did attend some AA meetings in his early 20s. The next 20 years until Kelvin got sober in AA are an odyssey of drug and alcohol-addled behavior. He floundered in a sea of lost jobs, multiple treatment centers, bitter divorce, crime, jail, and many failed attempts to get and stay sober. He finally found AA in 2017. Earnest in his efforts to stay sober through AA, he wasn't completely convinced that AA would work. So he set up a contingency fund into which he made regular deposits. If AA didn't work, he'd have enough money saved to drink himself to death. Fortunately, Kelvin went to meetings, got a sponsor, did service work all around the AA club, and worked the steps to sufficiently claim a place in the middle of the program. After a year of AA recovery, Kelvin liquidated his contingency fund, bought a watch, and went to the next meeting. The rest of Kelvin's story is captivating, fascinating, and colorful. My interview with him enriched my sobriety, and I hope it will do the same for you. So sit back and enjoy the next hour and 10 minutes with my friend and AA brother, Kelvin S.
My name's Kelvin, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Kelvin.
Hey.
Thanks for doing the AA Recovery Interviews podcast with me this morning. I really appreciate you doing this. You and I are sitting in the room where we just came out of the meeting.
Right.
Everybody left after chit-chatting after the meeting, and you and I are sticking around to do this interview. I knew that when I've heard you share in this particular meeting before, I thought, that guy's got a really interesting story.
Wow.
And I wanted to make sure that your story became available to all the people who need to hear it.
Yes.
So even if just one person identifies with it, you will have helped carry the message.
Wow.
Yeah. So here we were in this meeting this morning. What did you think of the meeting?
Man, the meeting was good. I like meetings where they talk about drinking, specifically.
Yeah.
You know, obsession, the solution, what it was like, how do you deal with it when that drinking stuff comes over you, and that kind of stuff is the meat and potatoes for me.
It really is.
It really is.
And for me too.
Yeah.
So as we always do when we're sitting in meetings, at least I do, I have a tendency to think about what it is I would say if I get called on. Now this meeting this morning was, when did the obsession or the compulsion leave? And it had some of Dr. Bob's nightmare in there about how he wanted to drink for the first couple of years. When you think about sitting there in that meeting, and I didn't get to hear you share in the meeting,
right.
What was it you would have said about the compulsion or the obsession to drink and when it left you?
Howard, that particular part of Dr. Bob's story was a relief when I heard it, because I struggled too for a couple of years with the obsession.
Mm-hmm. What did that look like when you were struggling with it?
What it looked like in hindsight was a reservation.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was a just in case this doesn't work, I'm gonna put some money to the side, enough where it can sustain me going full throttle.
With drinking, you mean?
With drinking. The way that I like to drink.
Yeah.
So what happened was A had started to work,
Mm-hmm.
and I started thinking, if I'm gonna get drunk, I better get drunk now before too much time goes by.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Before too much time goes by, and people start, to really be let down if I go back out. And this is going to meetings, getting out of detox, going to meetings every day, sitting on the front row, sharing, and I was still putting money to the side just in case it didn't work. So
that was when?
I've been sober since September 15, 2017.
Wow. So you've been sober 5 years plus?
5 years plus, yeah.
So even while you were sitting in those meetings, trying to absorb everything that was going on, you still were putting money aside for your contingency in case it didn't work?
Yes.
When did you realize it was starting to work?
Whew. I realized it was starting to work probably about, let me see, I came out of detox. I stayed in detox 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
I come out of detox and came straight to a meeting. I took the suggestion to go to a meeting before I unpacked my bags. 6 months in, I sat on the front row probably about 2 months before someone asked me to chair a meeting. I chaired that meeting of probably about a year. I was probably about a year in, so we're talking about 18 months of trying to save $1,000 as a just in case fund. And I think I got up to about $800. And this is 18 months in before I bought a watch. So I guess that's when it started. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna spin it. Yeah. So I noticed this from probably about a year in. I was like, man, this thing is working. Getting involved, chairing the meeting, meeting people like you, people, asking for my number and me calling them outside of the rooms and, that substitution, whatever it was that I was looking for out there, I started finding it in here, and I noticed it kind of started working. So I started, it was kind of a effect where like, okay, it's working, but do I really want to do this for the rest of my life?
Isn't that something how even when it's working, within a certain period of time, we still think some other shoe's going to drop here, that something's going to happen where I'll have to drink again or I'll want to drink again. Did you get yourself a sponsor during that first year and a half?
Yes, Howard. I had what you call a detox sponsor. I'm sure you know that drill. Those are the people that come back to the detox centers and, share. And he did tell me to get a AA sponsor.
So did you?
Yeah, I did.
How long were you in the program before you got a sponsor?
AA sponsor?
Yeah.
Not long. Probably about 7, 8 months in. I had worked the steps with my detox sponsor, all 12. I sat around a couple of months and asked Janice.
Very cool.
To sponsor me.
Yeah, she is a beautiful woman.
Man.
She worked a great program.
Oh, man.
We really miss her.
Man, totally honest, totally 100 all the time.
Yeah.
She helped me become all right with being Kelvin.
Yeah, I get that. That's important.
Yeah.
So you were chairing the meeting for, you said, about a year or something like that, which meant you were getting leaders, and you were taking care of the money, and you were getting the room set up and that kind of thing.
Right.
what did you notice about the relationship between being of service and your comfortability with being in AA?
Man, that's the difference maker.
In what way?
Oh man, start feeling a part of, start being comfortable being around people and not drinking. Yeah, that's where the transition happened, because I didn't know how to be around people without either thinking about drinking or drinking. And that service, it made me be all right with, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can sustain a life, you know what I mean, without drinking and still have some fun. Fun was a big part of my drinking, Howard. I didn't want to be bored. I didn't want to be, I didn't want to be churchy.
Yeah. Now, when you first started drinking, was that the goal, was to have fun?
That was the goal.
So what does it look like if we look back in Kelvin's life here? What was your family of origin like, and what part did that play in your development, let's say, either towards becoming an alcoholic or just being the person you are?
Ooh, Howard, man, my family was very secretive.
Yeah.
So a lot of things, I know they were close.
Yeah.
They were from Nacogdoches, the country, and they one by one started migrating to Houston. Mm-hmm. So they were close-knit, but it was, what we do here, say here, stays here, Children don't listen to grown folks' conversation. You know what I mean? You know.
Put out of the room.
Yeah. Put out the room. You stay in your place. So we just kind of amongst ourselves found our way. But
you're talking about siblings,
siblings, like my cousins and sisters and brothers, and and the parents worked and did. They didn't do a bunch of drinking, but they did, parties.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of who I am today came from me being outside playing.
Outside playing.
Yeah, outside playing with others.
So, did you enjoy your life when you were a kid?
Man, Howard, I lived that. All of it was so fake when I look back at it. Mm-hmm. It didn't have any substance, so I don't remember hardly none of it.
Yeah.
I was fake. I had identity crisis because it was the time where they were taking the black neighborhoods and busing the children to the white neighborhoods for school. Yeah. They were kind of migrating the MTV era from the Southwest. So we were from the Southwest, south the Harlem Clark part, and across the tracks was the Chimney Rock. It was a big Jewish community, middle school. So we were migrating. And then MTV was coming. So I had a big identity crisis, man. So
when you were in school, you weren't with your friends from your neighborhood.
No, I wasn't with only the ones that were getting bussed over with me on the tracks. So I was dyeing my hair and wearing a ponytail, and I was
to fit in
on where I was going. But then when I would go back to where I was from, they would do the laughter, pick on. So but the people in the Jewish community were accepting me more than the people actually on my side. So that happened a lot through my elementary and middle school years. So,
that must have been really rough.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
So I was lost in that. My memories are, a high of the details of that is like very, very dull.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
We have a tendency, I know I do, the bad memories from my childhood took some reconstructing and deep therapy and other things over the years, but I know that there's just a part of us that knows to survive. We can't hold on to those memories and be able to not go bananas.
Right.
I can imagine not having an identity, going one place and having to try and fit in and then going back to another place and trying to fit in.
Right.
It could be really confusing for a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when did alcohol first enter the scene for you?
My mom was a hard worker,
Mm-hmm.
and she always, because she didn't have a lot of education, she wanted me to have an education, so she would always move into what she thought was better spots.
For the school district?
Yeah, for the school district.
Right.
So she got to the point where she bought a house and was supposed to be a good neighborhood, but it actually was a melting pot of a whole lot of other people doing what she was doing. So the neighborhood looked good, but the people that were in it weren't too good, you know what I mean? So I think I probably was about going from 8th grade to 9th grade. And I never did any drinking before then.
Did you have the opportunity and you just turned it down, or were you just not exposed to it?
I just wasn't exposed to it much, you know what I mean? I didn't have, that wasn't a part of my growing up. The people that were around, they wasn't drinking and drugging or nothing like that. So that summer of 8th to 9th grade, when my mom was getting this new house built, we moved into this new grand neighborhood. It was a person around the corner. He was a lot older. And he used to be out there, he was probably about 18 or 19. He would be out there in the morning, smoking a cigarette and smoking weed and just kind of talking to the young people waiting on the bus. And for some reason, I haven't seen it like that. It was something new. And he offered it to me and I took it.
You talking about marijuana?
Yeah. At first it was marijuana. Yeah. First it was weed.
The very first time you smoked, or let's say the first few times you smoked, what was the response that your body and mind had to the grass you were smoking?
It wasn't, I didn't have one other than the munchies.
Yeah.
I didn't feel anything, that I wasn't already feeling, because I was already crazy up here.
Yeah, I get it.
So it would take a lot for me to feel, I'm consumed with self, full of fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm consumed with wanting to fit in.
Well, I would think just the very action of smoking pot with these guys would help you feel like you fit in. Is that a safe assumption?
I guess it kind of, yeah. It made me feel like, maybe like a badass or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was doing something cool.
Yeah,
I don't know where the cool conception came from. Why did I instantly think that smoking weed is cool? Where did that come from, Howard?
Well, okay, so you've got this 18-year-old kid hanging out on the corner. You got all the other kids kind of, sidling up to him.
Right.
And he is the role model, or he is the image of what, he's cool, hang around him, you're cool.
Right. But yeah, the definition of cool now and the definition of cool then is crazy. It's opposite sides of the goal.
And when you're a kid, that's important.
Yeah.
So after the first few times that you smoked pot, were you desirous of smoking again?
Yeah. Because when we would get high, I would get the munchies. I can't remember feeling any different. Because I guess I was excited already about doing something different. What was cool to me was, he would buy food and we would sit around his house and laugh, and you know what I mean? And his mama was cool, and he had a bunch of fine sisters, and they were just one big, he didn't have to hide, he didn't have to play two characters. It was one way in the house and one way out the house. He was just, and everybody was accepting of each other, and I think that's was more attractive to me than anything.
So in a way, you wanted what he had.
Yeah, I wanted to hang out, man. I kind of like that.
So you hung out with him
as
the source of being able to get high and drink?
Well, I don't know if it was the source of being able to get high and drink more than it was the source of I feel like I can be myself. I didn't have to play both sides of the fence like I had been doing up to that point. I finally found that place where I actually fit in, where it was okay to be Kelvin, whoever Kelvin was.
That must have been quite a relief to you.
Yeah, it was good because, my mom thought I was just right next door around the corner, so she wasn't under no pressure.
Right.
His mom didn't trip that we were drinking and smoking weed. His sisters was attractive and funny and.
Sounds like a pretty great arrangement.
Yeah, it was. But alcohol hit me totally different, though.
In what way?
Because he was the first person to introduce me to alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And when he bought that big old 40 ounce, and I took a couple of drinks of it, I came out of that shell. I was, talkative. I wasn't scared of people. That took me fast. That's when I started to be able to talk to girls. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's handy.
Man, handy. Yeah, it was a tool. Fight, be a badass, all of that stuff right there.
So drinking was a real personality changer for you, wasn't it?
Exactly how it was a personality changer.
Were the people who were around you who were sharing in this experience, did you notice them changing as much as you felt yourself changing?
No, because the people that were around me at that time, I started hanging around older people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the only one really that went along for that ride.
Oh.
That was from the bus stop. I guess they had sense and say, danger.
Yeah, right. You just didn't happen to see that sign, did you?
And you know what, Howard? Man, it's crazy because I never thought. The questions that you asking me got me reflecting, and I never dug that. That stuff was stuffed.
Yeah, I'll bet it was. So, did you get any feedback from these people that would lead you to believe you should probably cut back or cut down or kind of level it off a little bit? Or were they just encouraging you to get as drunk as you want whenever you wanted?
Man, if they were, I didn't care enough to listen. I was on that wave then,
Yeah.
Now, they the ones looking like they missing out. And I felt like I found the answer.
Yeah.
So I was coming from up here.
Yeah.
They started being down here. You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah, so.
Do you keep tabs on some of those people? Do you know where they're at? Are they still around?
Yeah, I do.
Uh-huh.
I do. Because, I remember my mom used to say, man, you don't outgrow doing stupid stuff. And everybody's older now. And everybody's kind of back in line. In hindsight, everybody was going through the same thing. And, most of us are better now. And we kind of encourage each other.
Are any of those people in AA that you know?
No.
That's interesting.
None of them are in AA that I know. None of my childhood or middle school, high school, people, because I drafted a lot of people, because out of that relationship, come to find out he was in a gang.
Mm-hmm.
He put me down. I was in a gang, and I also drafted some people. And we were all kids.
Yeah.
And we all kind of grew up together, and we still keep in contact, most of us. But none of them that I know of had the ism like I do.
What kind of gang was it? Was there a criminal element to it? Was there an anti-societal element?
It was centered around neighborhood, like in the same area. It was, friends. We're gonna call each other this, and nobody gonna mess with us.
I get it. So you guys weren't going out and actively starting trouble.
No.
Okay.
We weren't doing that.
Good.
We weren't doing that. We were saying like nobody's gonna bring no trouble to us.
I get it.
And at the same time, starting trouble too, though.
So this was going on in your neighborhood.
Right.
Do you think you could have survived being in some of the more notorious gangs that you see in the media?
I looking at the way that Houston is, they really don't have those criminal, organized, notorious gangs. Usually, the ones that say that they are, Houston is just not built like that. They either usually faking, or maybe they know somebody that's from that, or they might be from California, up north, or Tennessee, or, because, just from experience, I noticed that line kind of stops when it gets to Texas.
That's interesting.
So the real notorious criminal or organized gangs are not in Houston. Usually the gangs in Houston are made like through neighborhoods.
I see.
Yeah.
So this is all going on while you're pretty much in high school at the time?
Yeah, pretty much in high school.
How were you as a student, and did you do anything with athletics? What kind of high school experience did you have?
Man, I think I was forced to play football.
Huh.
Because my mom thought I was, big enough to go pros. You know what I mean? Through my stats.
Oh my God.
And she forced me to do football.
You didn't want to do it?
I didn't want to do it, and I didn't want to do any athletics. All I wanted to do was hang out.
Hang out.
And so I had to force her. My mom wanted me to, play football and do extracurricular, and me not wanting to do any of it. And that was about the same time the no pass, no play kicked in.
Okay.
So it didn't take long before that. Before ninth grade was over, that was over with. Yeah, I had kind of gave up on school instead of, but the little time that I did go, if I was interested, I can pass. I was always brilliant in that. I didn't even have to study. If I just...
You're a smart guy.
Smart guy, just good. I can solve word problems.
So I have this picture of a guy who is in a gang that's mostly together to do the things that you guys like to do, like drink and maybe smoke pot. Were there any hard drugs involved at all?
Not at that time.
Okay, so just hang out with each other when necessary, do whatever you need to do to get a little extra action,
right,
and keep the people you don't want on your turf off your turf,
right,
that sort of thing.
Right.
And then at the same time, you're in high school. Did you give up on high school early? What did that look like?
I gave up, but my mom didn't. She dragged me.
She did?
Yeah, she dragged me. And she would go up there and she would, say, well, can you just give him another chance and this and that, and, he gonna go to school this time. And I mean, she drug it as much as she, probably to about the 10th grade, maybe going into the 11th grade, when I just totally dropped out. So she did her best, man.
That must have broken her heart.
At that time, I think she probably gave up, yeah, on the school deal.
Yeah.
And she was just big on respect. Well, if you're not gonna go to school, you're gonna get a job. And you're gonna wash these dishes, and you're gonna clean the house, and you're gonna respect me, and you're gonna do all that I want you to do if you're gonna stay here.
So did you do that?
I did that.
You did that.
I did that.
So you were pretty much a dutiful son.
Right.
But an unwilling student,
right?
Perhaps a rebellious member of society,
right?
But you listened to what your mama had to say, right?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I had to, yeah.
So you continued to live at home and do what she wanted you to do?
To the best of my ability, yeah.
So what's the next milestone in Kelvin's life past high school?
The drinking is getting bad.
Yeah.
I think this is late 80s. Mm-hmm. Going into the 90s, big cocaine era. I got introduced to cocaine in 10th grade.
In what form?
Crack.
Crack, okay.
Definite crack. I remember it was a time where I was embarrassed to say it was crack. I came in the room saying that I only do cocaine until somebody finally said, man, you didn't do cocaine, you smoke crack. Say it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I always tell people, when I started saying it, my program changed.
Yeah, I'll bet.
For the better.
Yeah.
When I started saying that I smoke crack and not do cocaine, it's something about that humbling process
Yeah.
that, that helps you in this process, in the AA process.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that goes on in the rooms. You know what I've noticed over the years, Kelvin, is that there's this sense, especially in the clubs, because I got sober in a club too, and I remember in the early days of going to AA in the clubs, there was always this sense of people trying to one-up each other on how bad it was, It was like, can you top this? And I was the best worst there was,
Right.
I always felt like maybe I hadn't gone down far enough because that guy lived under a bridge, or that guy didn't have any shoes, or whatever. And then the flip side of that was the desire in my ego to want to be the guy who says, oh, I really hit a bottom when I lost my Rolex, when I had to mortgage my Ferrari or something like that.
Right.
But cocaine was always one of those definitive drugs. I mean, if you're shooting heroin, there's no easy way to say that you're shooting heroin.
Right.
Cocaine always seemed to be it was the drug you did if you had a lot of money and you were one of the beautiful people. At least this is how it was in my world back then. But crack was always like, man, in an alley, smoking. Well, I'm talking about the smoking of the crack.
Yeah.
And so I can imagine how telling people cocaine, probably made you feel a little bit elegant.
Yeah, made me feel better about myself. Man, that's crazy.
That isn't it?
That's the disease.
Now, crack, what kind of addictive qualities did crack have for you?
Oh man, we were young and we used to go over there off of 610 by Astro World. They used to have a lake back there.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the 610 Lakes or whatever it was called. And we used to go back there and drink.
And drink.
And there was a guy in the car. And I remember he had a road map open. And we were in the harassing people back then, young. Man, what you doing in that car, this and that? And, just, being kids. And he was like, you want some of this or something? He had it broken down. And, I said yes to everything, just like I said it at the bus stop.
Right, yeah.
I was like, what is it? He was like, just try it. And I tried it. It was just like that beer gave me that effect. When I tried it for the first time, I was off to the races. I think I was 16. 16 years old, Howard. Mm-hmm. So from that point on, everything I did evolved around that in some kind of way.
Did you dial back the other things you were doing to do that more, or were you continuing to do everything the same amount?
I was continuing to do everything the same amount, but, it takes you fast. So I had to, put that mask on like I wasn't getting took fast, and that led me back to that double life again.
So at that point in your life, you were kind of living a double life. The Kelvin that does what his mother wants him to do at home and takes care of business there, but then the other one who goes out and hangs down by the 610 lake and smokes crack.
Man, at this time, it's a triple life, Howard.
Triple life.
Because you got the Kelvin that wants to do good by my mom, because that's our whole family orient. Then you got Kelvin, the gang leader, that has to put this, whatever on. Mm-hmm. And now you got Kelvin, the secret crack smoker, that's hanging with the gang, but also hanging with the people the guy that was with the map.
So the gang wasn't necessarily doing crack.
No. For some reason, they didn't draft that ism like I got. They just didn't cross those lines so easily like I did, Howard.
So you were a triple threat.
Triple. 3 faces.
So how did that play out, and for how long did you do the crack cocaine, and what were some of the consequences of doing that?
Man, I think at 17, I snatched the purse because I ran out. I got like 10 years deferred probation.
You got caught?
I got caught, of course. Yeah.
For your first offense? 10 years?
10 years probation.
Probation.
First offense. Then it was different. Right now, you probably wouldn't get that much, but back then, things were different then,
But it was just that. It wasn't anything to do with the drugs or alcohol.
Snatching the purse. Now, I knew I ran out, And that's why I was snatching the purse, to get some more. And the judge knew, of course. Well, he probably saw something, because that's when I was ordered to come to AA.
Just from that, huh?
Just from that 17.
So somewhere along the way, you had to admit that you were an alcoholic or drug addict to the judge, or at least acknowledge it, so he would send you to AA?
No.
No?
He must have saw it without me.
Really?
It must have been the nature of the crime, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's a dope fiend crime.
Yeah.
Don't nobody snatch purses unless they got a, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And, looking back, because I didn't stop, my criminal life didn't stop then. But looking back, I'm 50 years old now, I know that if somebody's snatching purses, then they desperate. It's a desperate crime.
Something about your experience that lets you know the true nature of what's going on.
People do desperate things because they don't do desperate things because they want to pay a phone bill.
We'll be right back. My friends, if you're enjoying my AA Recovery Interviews podcast, check out my latest audiobook, Alcoholics Anonymous, the story of how more than 100 men have recovered from alcoholism. This is the word-for-word, cover-to-cover reading of the first printing of the first edition of the Big Book, published in 1939. It's a relaxing and meaningful way to listen to the Big Book anytime, any place. Have a free listen at Audible, Amazon, or iTunes. While you're there, enhance your program with another audiobook I produced, Lost Stories of the Big Book, 30 original stories missing from the third and fourth editions of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's an engaging audiobook that brings these stories to life for AA members who've never seen them. These timeless testimonials were originally cut to make room for newer stories in the third and fourth editions. But their vitally important messages of hope are as meaningful today as when they were first published. Many listeners will hear these stories for the very first time. Listen to a free sample of Lost Stories of the Big Book on Audible, Amazon, or iTunes. It's also available as a Kindle book or in paperback from Amazon if you'd like to read along. You're gonna love it. And we're back. So you had this 10-year probation.
10-year deferred, yep.
Deferred probation. What did that look like in actual practice? Were you restricted in your activities? What was that probation like for you?
Man, that probation was community service and AA meetings and paying whatever fees I had to pay every time I went and saw the probation officer.
So you're 17, you're on probation, you go into AA for the first time. What was AA like to you when you first went? What did you think about it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I was, a bunch of old guys smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
I wasn't even worried about I was too consumed with me and what I was doing before and after.
So were you getting a paper signed a couple?
Yeah, I was getting a paper signed.
So how many times a week did you go?
Man, I probably once.
Once a week.
And I would forge the signatures. And I would forge the signatures. But, it didn't last long, Howard, because it wasn't long after that I got another case and went to prison. So I think I might have been on probation 3, 4, 5 months.
So you broke the probation?
I broke the probation because I didn't stop. Nothing changed.
So you were trying to fulfill the probation with the least work necessary.
And still maintain the life that I was doing.
I'm curious, how did that make sense to you at the time? I mean, what were you telling yourself about that? That you just had bad luck and got caught, or what were you thinking back then?
Man, I just had bad luck, got caught. I never identified with myself.
Yeah.
I didn't know who I was. I didn't think about where I was going, where I wanted to go. I didn't think about who I was hurting. I didn't think about nobody but myself, Howard, and getting more of that stuff that made me not have to feel.
So you're drinking, you're continuing to smoke crack.
Right.
Your decision-making goes along that same trajectory, and you got caught for a second crime.
I got caught for a second crime. I got caught for stealing some clothes out of the store.
Must have been really nice clothes, huh?
I don't know what I was thinking, right?
No, I get it.
In hindsight, it wasn't. at that time.
Yeah.
You know, at
Yeah.
that time, not
Yeah.
knowing shit, I thought I had something.
So you got caught, you're on probation, you're off to prison.
I'm off to prison. You know, that's what happened. That's the goal. Back then, I would say that's the worst thing that could, but that's what happens, and that's what needs to happen when you're on that track, Howard.
Yeah.
Now I'm a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen. I'm saying, like, I'm glad that stuff is in place.
Yeah.
Because that kind of behavior, full throttle, ain't no telling where it's gonna lead to and who you can hurt. Yeah, so I'm off to prison.
So I've known, in fact, I've interviewed a number of people who have prison as part of their stories. People like Tom from the meeting you and I were just in. He spent many, many years behind bars. One of the women recently who I interviewed, she spent some time in prison for intoxication manslaughter. Other people spent time, and prison changed them. Most of the stories I've heard from people in AA about prison include some kind of AA component. What was prison like for you, and what was your sentence?
My sentence was the 10 years deferred that I had to do, that I was on probation for. That's the thing about deferred probation. If you break it,
You got to do it.
you got to do it.
Oh, yeah.
But if you do it, supposedly it doesn't go on your record, supposedly. So I had to do the 10 years. I was 17 years old. It was scary.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah. So, you know, I didn't know what to expect. You know, I had this, what I saw on TV, what I thought it was like. But when I got there, it was nothing like it. It was nothing like it was on TV. You know, they kind of keep you separated. They keep the young people with the young people and the older people with the older people. And so it might have been chaotic, but I was used to chaotic life. So actually it was rest for me because, you know, I had been doing 3 lives for a long time. I was tired, you know what I mean? And it was also, you know, when I got there, I didn't think of it as bad at all. I really didn't.
It didn't feel bad when you got there, but did it start feeling different at some point where you're thinking, God, I'm in prison, I need to get out, I got to do something?
No.
Huh.
I mean, what were my goals when I was in there? Making myself as comfortable as I knew how. You know what I mean? Having plenty of whatever I need. Writing girls. You know, it's totally immature shit. You know, I was 17. You know, I didn't have no role models on what I wanted to be like. So I thought I was in the moment, trying to get as much mail as I could to keep my mind off of being in there, you know. But, you know, you get close relationships with the people that are in there. You know what I mean? And, you know, you kind of read each other's mail and hear each other's story, and, you know, you eating and drinking and showering, you're doing everything together, so it becomes a close bond. And, you know, I like that feeling of acceptance, that close bond. You remember, now that I think about it, that takes me back to the guy's house.
Yeah.
And the
gangs.
Yeah,
and that sort of thing.
all of that stuff, so it fit right in.
So you were able to replicate your seeming lifestyle in prison.
Right.
One of the things that Tom and some of the others have told me about is that thinking that if you go to prison you won't be able to drink or you won't be able to use drugs is a fallacy, that drugs and alcohol are relatively easy to get behind bars. What was your experience with that?
Man, I didn't, I guess it was available, but I wasn't connoisseuring it though, for some reason. But now that I think about it, I mean, I don't know if it was more of the lifestyle that I was addicted to at that time, other than, you know, the drugs. Because, like, once I went to prison, I didn't think about it.
So you were able to stay sober and clean in prison?
Right, without even thinking about.
Yeah, because here you were in a totally different environment.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
So you're in prison, you're 17, you're moving through prison, you're staying sober and clean. What's the next milestone?
I get out of prison.
After how many years?
2 years, almost 2 years. Did like 18 months in there and like another 6 months in a pre-release.
Was this the first time you came up for parole?
I made it the first time I came up for parole.
So you must have been a pretty good guy during that 18
Yeah, I
months.
was a pretty good guy. I made parole. I was 19 years old. And you know, my old mama, she wanted to send me back to high school.
Oh, boy.
She,
From one
You
prison
say,
to
oh.
another.
she thought I still, she wanted me to get my diploma.
So did you?
No, I got my GED.
Okay, that's
Not
cool.
my diploma, but she made me go to, I was 19 years old, and I figured I had, I was grown.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I got arrested, I was in and out of high school. You know what I mean? I dropped out, but she didn't know it.
Right.
So she think I was plucked, I made it to 11th grade. So when I'm 19, coming out of prison 2 years later, of course she gonna grab me and say, you gonna get back in school and you gonna get your diploma.
Yeah.
So I was too old to go to school at the regular high school.
Yeah.
So I had to go to a magnet-like high school.
Mm-hmm.
We tried the magnet high school, and I didn't get the GED there. I stopped going there, but eventually I got my GED.
So once you got out of prison and you went back to school, did you go back to the old lifestyle immediately?
I went back to lifestyle, but not to the drug part of it.
How were you able to do that?
Oh, shucks, I don't know. I think I was young. I wanted to get some things accomplished.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to get me a car. I wanted to get a job. I had this trajectory. I guess something did happen.
What was that?
Like you said, some people, they say after prison, something happened.
Yeah.
Because when I got out, I did want to get a job and a car, get my GED, and be semi-normal. You know what I mean? Yeah. I never thought about that, Howard.
Yeah. So you had some ambition once you got out.
I had some ambition once I got out.
Huh.
None when I went in, some when I got out.
So maybe prison was a good thing to have happened for you in that regard.
Definitely.
Huh.
Definitely.
Were you continuing to drink during this time, though?
Yes.
And were you drinking alcoholically or heavily or abusively? How were you drinking?
I was drinking every day.
Yeah.
It was still a big part, drinking as much as I could and smoking weed as much as I could without getting caught, because I was still on parole.
Still on parole, that's right.
So, but I wanted a job and got one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And got a girlfriend.
Well, that's cool.
She got pregnant. And, I thought instantly that because, she got pregnant, we were supposed to get married. And I asked her, of course, she said no.
She said no?
Yeah, of course, because I didn't have nothing going.
Huh.
But during the course of this job, it's life-changing. I was working at Subway.
Uh-huh.
There was a lady that worked there. She actually worked at Sugarland Telephone Company.
Yeah.
She was they had operators.
Yeah. The old days, yeah.
And she worked at Subway part-time, and I started working at Subway part-time. Mm-hmm. And she introduced me to a guy, and he worked at Sugarland too, but he was a supervisor over the maintenance department.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the coolest cigarette-smoking ex-Muslim turned Christian pastor that I had ever met. And she introduced me to him because she said maybe he can give me a job, because he needed somebody in the maintenance department. And I met him, and he was definitely game-changing. Because first of all, I didn't think that pastors could smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because he smoked cigarettes was attractive to me, you know what I mean? And I listened to every word he said because he had a background something like mine, and he put me into action.
Huh.
That was like the first male positive figure that I actually had. And what action was to him was, okay, you don't want to go to church with, come clean it. So he would have me come in on Wednesdays and clean the church. Now, he got me on at Sugarland Telephone Company and maintenance department. So as part of that, you come to the church and you clean it. And I would come on Wednesdays and I would clean it and I would leave. And, he just used to just pour into me. For the first time, he made me say that prayer about accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Mm-hmm. So you had a religious experience as a result of meeting him.
Meaning it was my first real religious experience where, actually I said that. Now, my mom drugged me to church.
But it didn't have the same effect.
It didn't have the same effect. Nobody said that prayer with me. It was poured enough into me to sit me still long enough to understand what it was about.
Looking back from your experience in AA and whatever relationship that you've been able to establish with a higher power as the result of being in AA, would you say meeting him was a God moment, or meeting him was something that your higher power directed that you never could have done on your own?
Yes. In hindsight.
So you were working at the phone company, you were cleaning the church, you had this religious experience. What were the next number of years like? Because this is all happening, I guess, in your early 20s?
Yeah, this is about in my early 20s.
Okay, so,
20.
But you didn't get sober in AA until you were
45.
So what did the next 20, 25 years look like?
20, 25 years looked like, I can play both sides of the fence good, because I've been doing that all my life, since middle school. So I want to be the church man, the Sugarland Telephone Company man, the gangster, the husband, father, and the dope fiend under the covers, and alcoholic under the covers.
That's a lot to juggle, isn't it?
Man, but I was comfortable. I mean, that's all I've been doing. So at the same time, I wanted better. So it was a bunch of, if you want to do this, you're going to have to go to rehab. A bunch of incidences sending me to rehab.
At different intervals?
At different, Sugarland Telephone Company, first rehab. I'm following my supervisor, the cigarette smoking Baptist preacher, ex-Muslim, in the company truck. And he comes across a speed bump and hit the brakes real hard, and I bump into the back of him, right in front of the building. He said, "Man, what were you thinking?" He said, "I'm going to have to send you for a drug test." He knew I was. So I go take the drug test. I come up positive. And I get my first trip to the rehab.
How old were you when you went there?
Oh, man, I might have been 21, 22.
So you went to that treatment center as a result of what happened at the phone company?
As a result.
And how long were you there?
I think what was treatment, like a month or two there, maybe. I think it was a 1-month program, 28 days. Yeah.
And then what?
I got out of there. I had my wife meet me, and when she met me with a beer. Yeah, I just tell her, "Come pick me up. I'm done." We thought that was it. It's all gonna be better.
So you were married by this time?
I was married by this time.
When did you get married?
Man, I think I got married 23, 22, 23. Yeah, I was married.
So did you have any kids by then?
No, I didn't have any kids by then.
Okay.
I didn't, but I was married.
Okay, so you're married.
Yeah. So because the first girlfriend that I asked to marry,
Right.
we didn't marry.
Yeah.
She said no. Not soon after that, I met another girl, and we got married. I instantly think that because we do that I should get married.
So she meets you right after you get out of rehab.
Right after I get out of rehab.
With a beer.
With a beer.
And of course you couldn't turn it down, I guess.
I couldn't turn it down. I mean, I told her to bring it, and she brought it like it was ginger ale.
What's interesting about that is that particular treatment center has a very good reputation for the handoff between their program and AA. There are AA meetings that take place in that particular treatment center at the time. I know it's changed a lot over the years, but obviously you had been exposed to AA previously in your life, but now you were being exposed to it as part of the rehabilitative treatment.
The treatment part of it.
What was there about her giving you the beer and what you knew about AA that clashed? Or did you not even think about it?
I didn't even think that was AA. I was there, but I wasn't there. AA was just a name on the top of the paper.
Yeah.
Rehab was a resort. You know what I mean? It was co-ed. It was buffet. You know, it was just a place I had to be in order to go back to work.
Uh-huh.
No desire to stop doing what I was doing.
So once they signed all the papers for you that you're supposedly clean and sober, you were able to go back to work?
Back to work.
And how long did that last?
It might have lasted I probably juggled it about 6 months before they popped a random on me.
Again, you got positive.
Again, I got a positive.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, because that was all part of once you get it, once you get the ball rolling, you know, it's every 6 months.
Yeah. Was there a 3 strikes and you're out rule there?
Man, I think it was a 3 strikes and you're out. I get popped with the random. I go to outpatient at rehab, finish that, and get popped with another random, and it's over.
So you're out the door.
I'm out the door.
That all sounds like it happened within about a year?
That all happened. It had to be about a year. Yeah.
What did you fail to learn from that?
Man, I don't know how. The consequences.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how there's a big disconnect in there somewhere between the consequences, the action and the consequences? We take a certain action and don't expect consequences.
Yeah.
Or if we expect consequences, they're nowhere near what actually turns out. So you're on the streets after a year with a good, phone company used to be the jewel of a job,
Jewel of a job.
Yeah. So you're no longer with the phone company.
I'm no longer with the
You're
phone.
married.
I'm married. So what happens is I just kind of float around for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I got a good friend that had a job as a data entry. So I get into the data entry.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing.
Drug test?
Yeah, drug test. Same thing. It started off as missing in action, not coming back from lunch, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because I'm still using. I'm still drinking. Nothing's changed, Howard.
You're still running around with the same crowd?
I'm still running around with the same crowd, and I'm still running around with the same lower crowd.
And you're married still?
And I'm married still.
How's the marriage going?
I mean, it's going bad.
Did your wife want you to stop?
She wanted me to stop. So, at this time, I started doing the voluntary rehab to take some of the heat off. I got a taste of the rehab. Now it's time to go to the recovery center. Check myself in. That's when I started getting a little taste of AA.
So you started to connect the dots at that particular recovery center?
Man, I started meeting people, and they started to take me places other than AA. Oh, let's go out to eat. Let's go do this. I'm going to come pick you up. And, attempts to take me through the steps. And,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and then that was another comfortable state because that took me back to my middle school transition days.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? When we were going across the tracks. So I can operate very comfortably there, too. Yeah.
While you were there and also participating with these men in some of the other activities,
right.
Were you still drinking?
No.
Okay, so you were staying sober?
I was staying sober.
So how much sobriety did you actually put together during that time?
Man, during those times, let's see, no more than a year of honest sobriety.
Uh-huh.
I would always kind of start taking the pills.
Yeah.
And doing the marijuana maintenance eventually. You know what I mean? But I never cut out the old friends, because I didn't think that they were the problem. They were actually good. They were just heavy drinkers.
So you just had to not do what they do, but still hang out with them.
Right. Do it like them. You know what I mean? That was the whole, so just rehab after rehab after rehab.
How many rehabs would you say you were in?
It was 7.
7 recovery centers?
7 recovery centers. 7 detoxes.
This sounds like just a revolving door you're in throughout the years.
Throughout the years, revolving.
Now, during this time, as you were getting into your 30s and let's say even your 40s, you had children at that point?
I had children at that point with my first wife. We had 2 children. You remember the girlfriend in the beginning that got pregnant?
Uh-huh.
She's now my wife.
And she had the child.
Yeah, she had the child.
Wow.
She just didn't marry me.
Were you part of that child's life over the years?
No, you know, through those years, actually, I wasn't a part of nobody's life but my own.
Yeah, I get that.
I was there in passing, somewhat financially, what I did, and always in makeup mode for those 3, 4, 5 months, but never enough to where I can feel anything come back from them. Just wasn't around long enough. You know, I was either in rehab or on a binge, very absent. So from, like you say, from 25 to 45, if I wasn't in jail, on a binge.
So you went back to jail and...
Oh yeah, I went back, yeah, because I turned into a thief, and not a good one.
Obviously.
So I was totally absent, Howard.
Yeah.
That's sad.
So the last time you went to prison?
The last time I went to prison, the last time I went to jail, I only went to prison once.
Okay, right.
So we were in and out of jail, petty cases. And times are changing. If I was doing those things back then, you would have went to prison.
Right.
But now it's different.
Now it's different.
Now it's different. So, you know, just petty cases, 2, 3 months here, 6 months here. The last time I went to jail was probably about 2 years away from my sobriety. So it's been 7 years. Because I got a little paraphernalia case. And that was game changing because I was the oldest cat in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That really drove home the point, didn't it?
That drove that it's time, you know, on the top bunk.
So it seems like it took what it took. Multiple rehab centers, multiple trips to jail. A marriage I would expect was not so great.
It ended, yeah.
Oh, it ended?
Yeah, it ended.
So you had 2 marriages that ended in divorce?
No, I got the one where she got pregnant at first. We married maybe about 7 or 8 years ago.
You're still married to her?
I'm still married to her.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
How did she feel about you getting sober?
Oh, man. She loves it.
Yeah.
She always used to say it was something in me that was good. I didn't see it, but it was something that made her hang in there.
So she stuck with you for quite a while, huh?
She stuck with me for, I think it's been like 13 years altogether.
5 of which you've been sober.
Yeah.
So 8 years into the marriage, what did the marriage look like before you finally...
Before I sobered up? Hurtful.
Hurtful. Mm.
You know, I couldn't, you know, I'm old enough to know that I'm letting people down. I don't want to feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't want to be around. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want to look at the hurt faces and the disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
So absent until I thought I had something to bring or couldn't go anywhere else. Mm. So she was praying and waiting on the day. Her faith was good.
Her prayers worked out, didn't they?
Yeah, but it took what it took. It took her to give up for me to hit a decent enough bottom to drive me in here.
So it drove you in 5 years ago. We talked a little bit earlier at the very beginning about what this period of time has been like for you. If you had to sum up your last 5 years of Alcoholics Anonymous and sobriety in general with regard to the impact on your life, what would you say about it?
Whew, miracle, Howard. Man, you know, it's unexplainable. You know, in hindsight, faith, my belief, and when I look back on what drove me here, because it wasn't a decision that I made, you know, I was incapable of making any kind of right decisions. And you see that, why that day was my last is a miracle. Yeah. Because it was no different from any other miserable day. Every day since then has been great. Man, it's a new life. Totally different from the life that I come from. It's all new. Every step, because I've never lived this life before.
Yeah.
So every day, every step is new.
So you got rid of all the old gang.
AA smothered it, because I purposely didn't. It's that AA, it being a way of life,
Right.
leaves no time for those things, for me. The relationships smother for me. They just smothered out. I mean, a phone call on Christmas, Thanksgiving, but my life centers mostly around this.
Yeah, that's so cool. In fact, the way you frame that, saying that AA smothered your old life, that's such a beautiful, I had never thought of it that way, but we talk about changing playgrounds and playmates, but the sustaining of a good AA program will necessarily, like you said, not leave time for the old life.
Right.
It won't leave very much in common with the old life, because here are people who want to get together and drink, and you don't have any desire to do that.
Right.
They don't want to sit around not drinking themselves.
Right.
So that idea of smothering is actually brilliant. I like that. That's very, very cool. So can you think of some times during the last 5 years that your sobriety has really been tested in a difficult way, and what kind of things did you do to get to stay sober during those times?
The first test for me, I think, was around over that 2-year mark, where, you're involved. You're going to, you got your home group, you know what I mean? You're taking suggestions. AA is productive. It's a productive life. Everything's going good, and I get bored.
In general, or with AA?
I guess in general, because AA is my general.
Yeah, okay, I get it, yeah.
On every platform, I start hearing the same shares, seeing the same people, you know what I mean? And I start thinking, man, it gotta be more. Is this the route? Is this what my life has come? You know what I mean?
Yeah, after 2 years, if you're feeling that way, wow.
And that's 2 years of being involved. I'm seeing the same people. I'm doing the same thing. I'm hearing the same shares. I'm not doing anything but work, AA stuff and work. You know what I mean? So now I'm getting bored.
Were you sponsoring anybody?
Sponsoring, okay. Yes. Boredom set in. And I start talking about it, because that's what I learned in here, So let's say probably about 2 years. Yeah. When I start talking about it, the old timers start pulling my tail. You in relapse mode and don't even know it. You doing so goddamn good, you gonna reward yourself with a fucking drink. You gotta be all right with being bored. That's what being sober is. You're ordinary. You gotta become all right with being ordinary. Man.
But you opened yourself right up to it by being level with people about what was going on, right?
Right.
That's such a great testimony to the importance of letting people know where you're at, because my feeling is in any given AA meeting, you can talk about whatever it is you want for 5 minutes. You could talk about Dr. Bob or the book or something you read or something completely unrelated to the way you're actually feeling.
Yes.
But if you're feeling bored, boredom is one of the biggest enemies of the program, is when people start getting bored and think they've heard it all before.
Oh, Howard, talk to me, because I didn't know that thing.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I didn't know that was an enemy.
How long after you started talking about it did you get that kind of feedback?
Man, immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't change immediately, because, I was still showing up, but hearing that was good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the suggestion that changed my boredom. I sit through the feelings, and I hear what you're saying, but I also heard you need to switch it up a little bit. Just try different meetings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You bored because you want to be bored. There's plenty to do. Try different stuff. Go to different meetings. And that started my journey. And as soon as I took the suggestions and started going to other meetings, and not just once or twice, but frequent, Other men. That's kind of when I saw you
Yeah.
outside of here. You know what I mean? That was during that time, Howard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I kind of started frequenting till I got to meet Gary.
Yeah.
That goes there, just the same way at other places, and that's when the change.
That sounds like an incredible realization of how important staying involved in the fellowship is, but also mixing it up.
Mixing it up.
I go to, literally, I come to this club a couple times a week, but I go to a men's meeting on Sunday night, a different meeting on Tuesday. And after a while, people say, how do you know all these people? Well, I go to different meetings where I get to know everybody.
Right.
And it's such a gift. It's such a beautiful feeling to know that wherever you go, you feel a little bit more comfortable. I see you sitting in this meeting. You seem like a very laid-back, comfortable guy.
On purpose.
On purpose. You worked at it.
Man, I learned that in the room. I didn't know that being cool was on purpose.
Yeah,
I didn't know that we had to make a conscious effort to sit like we sit, and for me not to be all over the place. And that's another gift of sobriety. This opportunity comes from frequent, because I'm sure if I didn't see you over there, and you didn't see me here, and maybe other places, how we frequent, this opportunity is a milestone. I'll stay sober on this particular experience. This will give me some more time.
It'll be something that you can add to all the other things you're doing, and you'll never have too many good things going on that will draw you further and further towards the middle of the program.
Like a progress report.
Like a progress report. Very, very well said. Well, in kind of wrapping things up, what I want to say is that one of the most beautiful things for me about doing this, and you and I sitting here today, is getting to know you at a level that's hard to do in a meeting when you're sharing 5 minutes at a time.
Yes.
Unless you can sit down with another man and or woman, eyeball to eyeball, knee to knee, and be looking in each other's eyes and talking, man, that is where it's at. So when I talk about doing these podcasts, I'm talking about not only sharing them with people all over the world, but it's such a gift to me to be able to get to know you.
Yes.
And you're a beautiful man.
Thank you.
And I see the program that you're working. You've told me about your background. I see how it all fits. I see how maybe God put you and me together today on this day after the great meeting we were in to share with each other. And my hope is that you would take away from this something that was valuable to you as well.
Man, to be in this chair across from you, man, it's priceless.
Yeah, for me too.
It's only a gift that AA can really give.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Since we're wrapping it up.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to where, I know you've heard this, but you live 2 lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That one, which I vaguely remember, which I'm glad. You know what I mean? And this one, which is a miracle.
Yeah.
Where you can have a past that you barely remember, and you can be put in a position of service to where I can be helpful. And it all comes with keep coming back. I will be notified. The steps are already ordered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have to add nothing to take nothing away. And man, it simplifies a person that loves to complicate stuff.
Yeah, very. It simplifies the complications of just living life.
So now I know through this today that I'm where I'm supposed to be.
And I am too. And I want to thank you for doing this today. I love you. You're a good man.
I love you too, Howard.
To me, this is just the start of us being able to see each other and having one more thing in common, man. So, again, many thanks for doing this.
Man, no problem, Howard. Anytime, man. Anytime you need me to do something, just ask.
Well, my friends, that's a wrap for today's episode of AA Recovery Interviews. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed AA Recovery Interviews, will you please tell others how to listen to it? Think of it as a little AA service that spreads the word about this rich and meaningful listening experience. It's yet another helping hand we can all extend to alcoholics everywhere. Visit my website, aarecoveryinterviews.com, where you can listen to every episode of AA Recovery Interviews. And if you want to contact me directly with any comments or suggestions, simply email howard@aarecoveryinterviews.com. By the way, this podcast strictly adheres to AA's 12 traditions and all General Service Office guidelines for safeguarding anonymity online. I pay all production costs, and no one receives financial gain from the show. AA Recovery Interviews and my guests do not speak for or represent AA at large. This podcast is simply my way of giving back to AA that which has been so freely given to me. The next episode of AA Recovery Interviews is on the way, so keep coming back. It'll be here soon.